Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting once again. We will call to order it at 10:17. Is there any public comment for the commissioners at this time for items that do not appear on our agenda today? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will then look at the motion, or the motion to approve the minutes from last week's meeting on October 29th. Would there be a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the October 29th meeting minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. We'll move into our COVID-19 items, and we have the first one as the County Relief Block Grant, and we'll turn that over to Margaret.
Yes, thanks very much. The item for your approval this morning is a recipient agreement between the Bellefonte School District and Center County. As you know, these agreements set forth the terms and conditions under which the Bellefonte School District will spend the CARES Act allocation that you have designated. So just one recipient agreement today, and it's again for the Bellefonte School District.
Thank you, Margaret. Would we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the recipient's item for, says educational entities.
You can specify Bellefonte School District if you would like. Just one.
Motion to approve the recipient agreement from the Bellefonte area school district.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for the Bellefonte School District and its recipient agreement with the county. Any final discussion on that? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. So testing site update, and we'll turn it back to Margaret.
Okay, thanks very much. As you all are aware, the testing site that we entered into a contract to provide with AMI company is going well. And I wanted to share with you the numbers of tests that have taken place since we opened the test site on October 27th. So the average daily number of tests is 122 per day. Some days they've spiked to 164, other days they've been down to 96, but the average for the first 6 days is 122. The question that will be before you next week is whether or not you want to entertain continuation of the testing site. The AMI folks believe that because our test numbers have been so low that we're actually going to be paying them less than the original contract, which would allow us to take that approved money and roll it into additional days of testing if you would want to do that. We have had some good feedback from the public about the testing site in terms of its ease of access, the setup and design of the testing site. People have been extremely pleased with what that entails. The AMI staff have been great. The mall is willing to extend it on a week-by-week basis if you would decide that you would like to continue to provide this resource. I have spoken with the Nittany Mall manager, and she said it's been a great working relationship with the AMI folks on the ground. So it's just an update today, but if anybody has any thoughts of whether or not you would like me to go forward and put some numbers around continuation on a week-by-week basis, I'm certainly able to do that this week and bring it in on Tuesday. I would say that if the decision is to continue, they need to know 72 hours before their concluding date, which is November the 14th, Saturday the 14th.
Okay.
Margaret, I know you're really busy, but yeah, I wouldn't. I'd like to see what the numbers might look like if we extended it another week or so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, in terms of do we have an idea of how much we've spent down of the $250,000 agreement we had with them, roughly?
They will be getting that to me so that I can see for the first week based on, so as you know, there's a line item in there that's tied to the number of tests, and that number was based on 300 tests, and so we're probably at, half of that line item, but they will be getting that to me.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, but
So
from my
come back in
perspective,
on Tuesday with a proposal, perhaps? Okay.
yeah, I'm also in favor of that. I just was curious to see how much of a difference we would have. But if we were planning on 300 and we're only using a third of that capacity, it seems like we would have the funds to extend it into the future. But it would be important to know what that looks like. But yeah, I'd also be supportive of that as well.
I would also add that the infrastructure to set up the site would not be billed to us again. It's already there. It's already been paid for, regardless of the number of days that we would continue it on. So that's also a savings. It would be more expensive if we shut it down on November 14th and then said in December, hey, we want to bring that site back. We'd be double in paying for that infrastructure setup.
Any other thoughts on proceeding? It sounds like as the consensus at this point is to have Margaret put some numbers together and bring that back to us on the 10th. But any other thoughts or ideas or questions on this?
None.
Okay. All right, we'll proceed in that direction. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
All right, we do have one personnel item here, and this would be the reinstatement of Vernon Wallace as a vehicle operator, and this would be on November 9th, this upcoming Monday. Any context for this, Dave, that you'd like to provide?
Yeah, thank you. I'm asking for consideration of the reinstatement of Vernon. He's my last vehicle operator that's on furlough, and needing Vernon back due to some drivers that are out on medical leave. Both my on-call drivers are unavailable for the unforeseen future, and just various people needing off for medical necessities, for family issues that they're dealing with, and various reasons. So we're running a little thin on drivers right now, and especially in the area that Vernon normally works. So it would be nice to have him back in the fold to help us meet the needs.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much. Any questions for Dave on this item?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, hearing none, seeing none, we'd look for a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve the reinstatement of Vernon Wallace, vehicle operator.
Second. Are you there?
Steve? Mike?
Yeah,
I'm here.
seconded it. I don't know if it came across or not.
I think
Yeah,
Michael,
I made the motion. Steve did the second.
I think Mike froze.
Oh.
froze up.
You hear me?
We can
Yes,
hear you,
barely.
Steve.
Yeah, I seconded it. Hello?
We're waiting on Mike. He got disconnected, I think.
Yep, we got you, Steve.
All right. As long as it's a second in there somewhere.
Got that.
Recording is on.
My apologies, everybody. I'm here at the Willowbank building, and the Wi-Fi is a little shaky today, it seems like. We did have a motion and a second on the transportation item?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All those in favor of that, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, thanks again, Dave.
Thank you very much.
For our personnel items, we have two from CYS, and this is for personnel requisitions for a full-time caseworker 2 and a full-time caseworker 1. Would there be a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve the 2 personnel requisitions for children and youth.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. Conservation District, we'll turn it over to Jim at this time for these 2 items. Hi, Jim. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm bringing before you today a request to approve some minor changes to job descriptions for my Resource Conservation Coordinator 1 and 2 positions. They're pretty minor. The first one is just clarifying some educational requirements, and the second one is due to recent office reorganization, I no longer have a resource conservation supervisor on staff, and the job description specified previously that these positions would report to that position. So I'm changing that to have them report directly to the Conservation District Manager.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Any questions on these items to Jim? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the revisions to the job description for Resource Conservation Coordinator 1 and Resource Conservation Coordinator 2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
We would look for a motion to consider the approval of a personnel requisition for a full-time CO. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the personnel requisition for a full-time corrections officer.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. We have a report on row office personnel items. The Treasurer's Office, Treasurer Colleen Kennedy has approved the personnel requisition for full-time Deputy Treasurer. And in the Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Samsel has approved the personnel requisition for a full-time security officer. We would move then we'd look then for the check run. We'll turn it over to Commissioner Higgins.
Thanks, Mike. A rather different check run today. The amount is $3,880,911.84. A little over $1 million of that is regular check run items, but there are also 202 checks in this run for the small businesses from our grant program. So that's just about half of the businesses that received small business grant funding from the CARES Act. And the total of those 202 checks is $2,821,616. Big thanks to Mary Kay, Margaret, the finance staff, and the controller's office, and of course Jason Moser, the controller, for handling all of the extra work and getting ready to place these in the mail. If Jason's on the line, when do they go in the mail? Today or tomorrow?
They'll probably be going in the mail today.
Excellent. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'd look then for a motion to approve the check run.
Motion to approve today's check run.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. Thank you very much, Commissioner Higgins. All right,
You're
so
welcome.
we'll go to non-personnel items, and the first one is for a contract with Pennico. And we'll turn that over to Margaret for that item.
Yes, thanks very much. As you know, we're on the very last phase of renovations inside of the courthouse involving the law library. When carpeting was removed from the room, of course, tile flooring was found underneath, and there was a need to abate the asbestos in that space. So this item this morning is for a contract with Pennico to provide asbestos removal as part of the renovations project. The total of the project is $7,989 or 320 square feet of floor tile removal, and it would be a one-time cost.
We always knew that we were going to need to do this, so it's good that we're getting it done. We look for a motion to approve the contract.
Motion to approve the contract with Pennico.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Okay. Item B is to consent to proceed with the sale of property. for the repository of unsold properties in Center County. And we would look to Margaret for this one, or Tom, who would like to speak to this?
I think Tom has been following these items based on the recent sale, so I'll turn it to him.
Yeah, this is something that we've had in the past. This was sent to the other to the school district and to the township, and they signed off on this as an unclaimed property. And this property was in repository, and now they have a bid on that property, and so we just have to formally have the commissioner sign off on this.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Is there any questions for Tom before we look for the motion? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the sale of property from the repository of unsold properties.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Tom. Into our criminal justice planning item, we will go, and we'll turn it over to Carrie. It looks like some good news, or potentially good news. Carrie, good morning, and we'll turn it over to you.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. I'm here to request the board's approval to submit a project modification request to PCCD for our COVID grant that we currently have. If you recall, that grant is for a little over $107,000. They re-released some additional funds. Wasn't quite as much as they anticipated. It was just a little under $4 million. So we're eligible for an additional $47,200. So we had hoped to be another 107, but they had to use some of the other CARES Act funding for other state agencies. So they have just under $4 million to pass along to the counties. So the project modification is due next week. I'm currently working to get some items to include from Bellefonte Police Department, Patton Township Police Department, possibly our probation department, and our correctional facility. I don't have all those items figured out just yet. It's kind of a work in progress, getting estimates and quotes, but we'll get those items in, and we'll try to use up to the full amount of $47,200, as we always do.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. Any questions on this for Carrie? Okay, hearing none, we look for a motion then.
Motion to approve the submission of the project modification request, PCCD.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you very much, Carrie.
Thank you.
Okay, we have an addendum to our next item is an addendum to our engagement letter with Babs Callen, Clements, Zomnier, and Margaret. Would you be speaking to this? I don't know if Betsy is on the line with us today.
Betsy is not on the line today.
Okay.
So this represents the additional work that's necessary by Babs Callen. The Board of Commissioners had entered into an engagement letter with her firm to represent the county in all of the litigation that came before us prior to the election. And there were some additional work that was required as a result of it. So what this does is it expands the engagement letter to include those cases.
Okay, so these aren't cases that have just been filed. These are prior to the election.
Yes, this addendum request came in prior to the election. These are all pre-November 3rd.
Okay, thank you. Would there be any questions for Margaret on this before we look for a motion? Okay, would there be a motion then?
Motion to approve the addendum to the engagement letter with Babs Callen, Clements, and Zomnier PC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say
Aye.
Aye.
Not that we have to tell anybody.
We'll just do another mic check here. Natalie could maybe mute some of the folks who are not currently muted. That might be necessary. Okay, looks like we're good there. We just have one final item here. It is for our planning office, and this is actually our consent agenda. So we look for a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Any executive sessions to report for us, Margaret?
No executive sessions to report.
Okay, at this time, we'll accept any questions or comments from the press. If there's any questions, feel free to ask them now before we look to adjourn. Any questions for us? Okay, hearing none. Any other items to come before the board before we look to adjourn?
None.
None.
Okay, would there be a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn at 10:38.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you all. Have a good day.